Amphibia. In that, we are going to introduce the class Amphibia, and we are going to study the characteristics of order Apoda, Urodela, and Anura. Introduction to class Amphibia. Amphi means two, bios means life. As we know that amphibians are aquatic and they live in only fresh water, and they live on land. Okay, they are cold-blooded animals. As we know, as cold-blooded animals are known as poikilotherms. These organisms cannot maintain their body temperature. According to the environment, their body temperature changes. That's why these organisms are known as cold-blooded organism. Again, the body is divisible into head, neck, trunk, and tail. Okay, the most amphibians are pentadactyl, having 4 to 5 digits. Here, the endoskeleton bony. Okay, again, this organism that shows the kidneys are mesonephric kidneys. Okay, again, the brain is well developed. Respiration through lungs, skin. Okay, in larval form, the respiration with the help of gills, that is persist only in aquatic adults, some. Okay, again here the sexes are separate, that is male frog is there and the female frog is there, for example. Again here fertilization is external and females are mostly oviparous. Okay, development is indirect in this organism. As we know that these are the first vertebrate that come out of water, and heart is 3-chambered. Here the silent features of class Amphibia, as we know that body having a head, trunk and tail, moist and the glandular chromophores, skin is there, chromophores are present on the skin. Fertilization is external and the direct, as we know that fertilization is external and indirect. That is, as we know that there is a difference between the direct and indirect development. So indirect development, it includes the larval form. So indirect development, it includes the larval form. Okay, again the endoskeleton. Okay, N must be there. So endoskeleton is a bony and kidneys are mesonephric. As we know that there are 3 types of kidneys: pronephric, mesonephric and the metanephric kidneys are there. Again, the next is order Apoda. As we know that the apodans are a burrowing limbless amphibians living in the tropics. They show the several interesting primitive features. Okay, they retain the small scales on the skin, and we can see the vestigial tail in the apodans. These are the limbless blind organism, elongated and the burrowing organism present in a tropics. Again, short tail is there or tail may be absent, and cloaca is there. Body having the head and the trunk. Skin is transverse groove or the wrinkles are present on the skin. Copulatory organs are present in a male. As we know that the copulatory organs that help to transfer the male gamete into female gamete. Okay, so the copulatory organ that helps at the time of copulation, example is ichthyopes and erythrophils. You can see here the order Apoda live in a tropical areas, often blind, rarely seen, and they detect the prey through a chemosensory tentacles located on the side of the head, and the fertilization is internal in the ichthyopus. Okay, here the order Urodela. So the order Urodela are the tailed amphibians. Okay, they possess 4 limbs and relatively equal in size. Okay, and except of the Syrians, okay, which lack the limbs. It includes the salamanders. They are found mainly in North Hemisphere. Some species that inhabit in tropical zones of Central and South America. The number of urodels that stay in an aquatic life and have external gills. Now, the general characteristics of the order Urodela. Body is divisible into head, trunk and the tail. Tail is useful for the locomotion on a land and in a water. The limbs are two pairs, usually weak and almost equal in size. Skin is scaleless, that is, scales are totally absent on the scale. Gills are permanent or lost in an adult. Male are without copulatory organ. Larvae are aquatic, adult-like with the teeth. You can see the lizard-like with the teeth. Larvae are aquatic. Neoteny may found. Larva breathe through gill and lost in a adult. You can see here the examples are Nycteris and the salamander. So these are the examples from the class Urodela. Now the order Anura. As we know, the Anurans are tailless amphibians. It mainly includes frog and the toads. The hind limb of these amphibians are always longer than the forelimbs. They are smooth skinned, commonly known as frog. Okay, and most of these species that present in a watery area or in a damp inhabitants, they are specialized to live on a tree as well as in a desert. They are found in a world wide except for the polar areas. Okay, now the characteristics of the Anurans. The body is short and compressed, divisible into head and the trunk. The tail is absent in adult. You can see in the slide. So the tail is absent in the adult frog. Hind limb and the forelimb are present and hind limbs are the longer. Adult are without gills. Skin is loosely fitted and scaleless. The vocal sacs are present. So, the croaking sounds are there and vocal sacs are present only in the male. They are oviparous, fertilization is external. Okay, the example is hyla, frog and the pipa. Here you can see this order contains the frog and toads and there are about 3,500 species. Anurans live in the moist environment except in a high latitudes. Adults do not have a tail, as we know that. Hind limbs are long and muscular and end in a web fit. Okay, again you can see here the diagram. So this diagram can show the web tailless amphibian, that is the frog, hind limb, forelimb, mouth, external nares. This is the diagram of Rana tigrina. Okay, thank you. Sorry, here you can see here again in this diagram, in this slide. So the life cycle of the frog is shown. So the eggs, after that embryo is there, embryo develop into tadpole, means the larva with the 2 legs. Again larva, small froglet having a young froglet having 4 legs, and this adult frog having 4 legs and without tail. So tail is there in the larval form, not